I'm Andrew Daniel, outfielder for the Russia Raiders, and this is Fish Report Live, coming up next.
Coming to you live from Studio F in Russia, Ohio, it's the Fish Report Live Show with your hosts, Craig Fissinger and Ken Francis.
Welcome, everyone, to another Fish Report Live. It is Wednesday night, April 17th. My name's Craig Fissinger. That's Ken Francis. Thanks for joining us tonight. As always, TK and Heavy D back in the sound room. And Ken, last week on this show, you were singing Rocky Top. I guess this week you probably ought to sing Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head, because we're trying to play sports, and all it does is keep raining outside.
Well, we've had a lot of rain this week, Craig, but I guess as far as Russia goes, they've been pretty fortunate. They haven't had a rain out yet, and if the weather stays decent, I expect them to get their game in tomorrow too.
So. Well, last night it was raining, and that gave us an opportunity though to get in the gym and talk to Russia coach Rick Gold, didn't it?
Yes, it did. It was great to talk to a special coach of the Russia Raiders. The guy's been around baseball a long time, Craig, and he sure does know his stuff. And we appreciate him taking time out of his schedule to join us. So it'll be neat watching that video. And we've also got a nice interview lined up with Minster boys track coach Larry Topp. So we'll have him on the phone here in just a little bit.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Before we get to all that, though, Ken, just like we do every week, we got to get to that weekly trivia question. Last week you stumped me. I'm looking forward to what you got tonight.
All right. Well, it's going to be baseball related, Craig. And as you know, a few months ago, Fort Laramie head baseball coach Bill Sturwald was inducted into the Miami Valley Coaches Association Baseball Hall of Fame.
That's right, yeah.
All right. Well, interesting. The guy we talked to last night, Russia head coach Rick Gold, is also a member of that distinct Hall of Fame of baseball coaches.
I knew that too.
All right. He was inducted in 1992 when he was a coach for which high school baseball team? Was it Miami East, Piqua, or Urbana?
Miami East, Piqua, or Urbana. I assume he coached for all three of those teams?
Well, he may have. That might help give the answer away. But
well, I know it wasn't
he coached for Russia too, so I could add Russia to that.
I know it wasn't the Russia Raiders. So right. I got Piqua, Urbana, or Miami East.
That's correct.
Okay, well, I'll give that some thought. If anyone out there has any ideas on what that could be, send me a tweet on Twitter, and I'll answer that at the end of the show. All right, Ken, let's get to our track talk. And last week we previewed the Anna Invitational a little bit. Got a chance to talk to Botkin's coach Ryan Gutman about that meet coming up. And the weather conditions weren't ideal, but we did see a couple records go down, didn't we?
Yes, we did. Over on Anna again, Coach Dean Stewart did a great job. Like I said, the guy does everything at the track meets, and I think including make popcorn. So and he was doing it all again last Saturday, and we appreciate his efforts. And but yeah, Olivia Cummings from Fairlawn, she heaved a shot put, Craig, 43 feet 3 1/4 inches to set a new record. And last year that would have actually won the state meet. So she's off to a great start this year. And also AJ Hillsman, the junior pole vaulter from Minster, with a big leap of 13 feet 9 inches. And so look for big things out of him as well.
All right. And I suppose you want to toot your own horn when we talked about our fab freshmen last week.
Yes, we did. I'm going to have to toot my own horn, Craig, there. I said last week to watch out for freshman sprinter from West Liberty Salem, Morgan Fryoff. And, boy, what a meet she had. She won the 100 and then the 200, as well as breaking a 29-year-old West Liberty Salem record, running a 13 flat. So, this girl can just flat out fly. Coach Vogel has got some really good athletes over there this year, and look for them to do a lot of damage.
All right. Well, that was Anna, and this weekend we actually have the Minster Invitational coming up, or the Minster Memorial, I think they call it. And let me ask you, what do you look forward to in the Minster Memorial, or why do you like that meet?
Well, it's great competition, first of all, Craig. Anytime you got a Minster involved, as well as some of the MAC schools, Fort Loramie's there, Rushie's there, Versailles is there. So just great competition, and it's a good way to see where you sit midway through the track season.
And there's a lot of good schools that run there as well. I know the Raiders will be there. I know Minster's going to be there. What other teams do we see there?
Versailles, Fort Loramie will be there. Bockens will be there. So just some good caliber competition along with other MAC schools.
All right. And one of the athletes I'm looking forward to seeing, or one of the races, is Versailles, Sam Prakel. He's going to be there. Got a chance to see him a couple weeks ago at Versailles, and he's going to be at Minster. Last week, I mentioned this to you before the show, I watched him run the 1600 last year, and he kind of, I think he toyed with one of the other runners, ran with him for 3 laps, and then he took off.
Craig, this guy's not going to a big-time D1 program for nothing. Sam Prakel's the real deal, and if you want to come watch him run, Saturday's a great opportunity, because I tell you what, he may be, if not the best runner, distance runner currently and of all time just in this area. The young man is phenomenal.
One thing about that Minster meet that every year it seems like it never fails. It always seems to be cold at that meet. I don't know if you had the same experience, but the few times that I've been there, it always seems to be cold.
Cold and rainy, Craig. That's the Minster Memorial. So, and I expect nothing different probably this weekend.
All right. Well, we're looking forward to getting Coach Larry Topp, the Minster boys coach, on here in just a minute. I think we're having a little bit of problems getting a hold of him. So we're going to take a short commercial break, try to get a hold of him when we come back. Hopefully we'll have him on the phone. So hang right in there. We'll be right back.
I got red and blues and my rear fuel to a 9 down 75. I got blood on my boots and a shaky hand and a smoking 45. There's a light in the sky, 10-step bulls, all with the beat on me. Well, I hope they're ready for a long, long night, 'cause I won't go easily. They'll never take me alive. Go on after me, 'cause I shot that girl. The woman said she loved me. You'll never take me alive. This is the end of me, 'cause I shot that girl. The woman said she loved me. My friends all told me what I could not believe, what the whole town already knew. With that little girl I call my own, she just could not be true. So I drove around, so I found a truck parked in that boy's drive. Well, I kicked in the door, into my gun, said, hey, have a nice night, but never take me alive. Go on after me, 'cause I shot that girl. The woman said she loved me. You'll never take me alive. This is the end of me, 'cause I shot that girl. The woman said she loved me. I got red and blues and my rear fuel to a 9 down 75. I got blood on my boots and a shaky hand and a smoking 45. There's a light in the sky, 10-step bulls, all with the beat on me. Well, I hope they're ready for a long, long night, 'cause I won't go easily. They'll never take me alive. Go on after me, 'cause I shot that girl. The woman said she loved me. You'll never take me alive. This is the end of me, 'cause I shot that girl. The woman said she loved me. My friends all told me.
All right, everyone, welcome back. We were having a little bit of technical problems getting hold of Coach Larry Topp from Minster. We're going to keep trying here, but we're going to cut. Ken, let's go ahead and talk some baseball talk. That's what we planned for the second half of the show. So if that's okay with you, we'll talk a little baseball.
That works great. I'm always ready to talk baseball, Craig.
Okay, well, let's start out taking a look at the Shelby County League standings, see where we're at. If you could go through those for our viewers, and also what big games we have coming up this week.
Sure. The standings are starting to take a little bit of shape here. We're about a third of the way through the season. Rushie's off to a nice start, up 4-0 and 9-2 overall. And to no surprise, Fort Loramie's right with them there at 3-0. Anna and Botkins and Fairlawn each sitting with 2 losses apiece. So some big games Thursday night. It's always big games in baseball because, as everybody knows, anything can happen on any given night. So you're going to have Fairlawn at Botkins, Fort Loramie at Jackson Center, and Houston at Russia. And don't, I don't look for Fort Loramie or Russia to be looking past their Thursday night games because those two will be heading against each other on Friday night in a makeup game, and which will be a big Shelby County League showdown there in Russia Friday night, Fort Loramie. And so weather permitting, hopefully we get all these games in.
Yeah, a lot of fun stuff, a lot of fun games coming up at the end of the week. And I want to ask you a question. I know I asked you this last night, but as far as games, the number of games that a baseball team can play, is there, I know some of these games get rained out. How many games are you actually allowed to play?
Well, you have to play all your league games, Craig, and there's 12 of those. And then they also schedule, I think it is 13 non-league games. Included in that is several doubleheaders. So 25 games is what Russia has scheduled. I would assume that's the max. I thought it was a few more than that. But, they have to get in all their league games. They usually have some rainouts. But, they'll try to make up what they can. And once it gets to tournament time, that kicks off about the middle of May. You probably won't see them making up many non-league games at that time.
All right. Well, I know one guy that knows twice as much as you and I do put together about baseball, and that is Russia coach Rick Gold. Got a chance, like we said earlier, to talk to him last night and talk some baseball, including who some of his big hitters are. Let's take a look and see what he had to say. You've got some guys I noticed in the stats that are hitting good for average. Cole McEldowney is one of them. Trevor Sherman seems to be hitting well for average. Bailey Francis seems to be hitting well for average. In your opinion, are you happy with how the Raiders are hitting right now?
Overall, no. But we got 4 or 5 guys who are doing real well. Again, the top of our lineup, Trevor Sherman had a great year last year, has followed it up with another great year so far this year. Cole McEldowney really struggled last year and is doing outstanding. Bailey was a JV player last year, and he's been our 3-hole hitter, hitting phenomenal. And then Isaiah Counts has really come on. And then the bottom half of our order has been a little bit inconsistent. So we need to get a little bit stronger throughout the entire order. But we've got some good kids, and they hit well at times. We're just a little bit sporadic. You mentioned Bailey, and I got a chance to watch Bailey play a couple times. He's hitting the ball. In my opinion, it seems like he's hitting it really hard. Let me ask you, why do you think he's been so successful? From last year to this year, he's learned to control himself a little bit more. Last year, he was such a pull hitter, and he would chase anything within like 12 feet of the plate. I think Bailey was swinging at. And this year he's got a much better knowledge of the strike zone. He's walked quite a bit, been able to steal some bases. And when they throw it across, Bailey hits it as hard as anybody. From a casual fan's point of view, if I'm at the plate, how can I tell if an off-speed pitch is coming or a curveball before it gets to the plate? A lot of times you can't. And that's why there aren't very many good off-speed hitters. And that's the thing about a pitcher. A pitcher's job is to throw off the timing of a hitter, and that's what a curveball and a changeup does. But with the curveball, a lot of times when it leaves the hand, it has a little hump on it. So if it leaves the hand going up, you expect the curveball. If they spin it the right way, it has a red circle or a red dot from the seam. So again, you see that, you know it's going to curve. And then again, the hard part is most hitters like to pull. And then your off-speed pitches are going away from you. So you got to learn to let it get deep, we call it, and then try to hit it the right side instead of trying to pull and you roll it over or you miss it. You seem to have a roster full of pitchers. Your 2 aces this year, again, seem to be Trevor Sherman and Treg Francis. I want to ask, how do you work those guys in the rotation? Do you just have a regular rotation that you always go through? Do you have to look at who you're playing? I tend to look a little bit towards who we're playing and who we're playing down the road to try to set up the rotation so we got our top 2 guys going in the big games. And again, those big games may be a weekend game. Like St. Henry coming up, we'd like to see one of those 2 guys if we can on the hill against us. I was always amazed when I was at Piqua and we'd play Coldwater. I'm not sure who Coldwater had that week in league, but we seem to find their ace. So we try to see who we're playing a little bit. And again, our pitching has been outstanding. And we not only have Treg and Trevor, but we got Nolan Francis, a young sophomore left-hander, threw a no-hitter this year against Franklin Monroe. We got Gavin Hoying, another sophomore that got us a win earlier against Franklin Monroe and came in relief against Covington and picked up another win. And then we got Austin Garrity, Andrew Daniel. We just have a lot of guys that they not necessarily throw all that hard, but they throw strikes and they got a little bit of breaking pitch. And I tell everybody that I got more pitching here at Russia than I ever did at Pickler. I may have had a couple harder throwers, but I never had the pitching depth, which is quite a luxury here.
Okay, let me ask you, you got a couple of league games coming up at the end of this week if we can get them in with the weather, but I think you're supposed to have Houston on Thursday and Fort Laramie on Friday. Fort Laramie was your big league rival last year, but I don't imagine you can look past Houston this
No,
Thursday.
you can't, and that's one thing you preach to the kids. Again, baseball is such a fluky sport sometimes. Again, it's the guy on the hill that controls it, and he may throw 12 miles an hour, but if he throws off your timing, you might spend the whole game popping up, and then their batter may get a couple fluke hits or whatever, and you never know what might happen in baseball, so you can never, ever afford to look past anybody.
All right, well, I know you're looking forward to Houston then on Thursday, but let me ask you one question about Fort Laramie. The games you played against them last year were a couple classics. I imagine you're expecting nothing less this Friday.
Again, Fort Laramie, they're like Russia. They love their baseball. And then their coaching staff is all Russia, And those guys played very, very well in high school. They won a lot, and they carried that winning tradition over to Fort Laramie, and they got those guys going. And they play hard. Bill Sturwald, Mike Schultz, Kevin Flippo, they take baseball pretty seriously. And if you play for those guys, you're going to be playing hard. You're going to be taking it seriously, too.
All right, Ken, and that was the head coach of the Russia Raiders, Rick Gold, and one of the pitchers he mentioned there was your son Nolan and the no-hitter that he threw a little earlier this year. I want to ask you about the mentality of a pitcher throwing a no-hitter. Now, I know from a teammate's point of view, you're not supposed to say anything to him while the no-hitter's going on, but from a pitcher's point of view, you're in the fifth, sixth inning. You got to know that you haven't given up any hits yet. What are you thinking there from a pitcher's mindset? What are they thinking at that point?
Well, you're just trying to stay relaxed as possible, eat some sunflower seeds, talk to your teammates, keep them pumped up, have them get some more runs for you, and just stay relaxed. So it was kind of interesting. Actually, sophomore Grant Oberding from Fort Laramie also tossed a no-hitter just a few days later. So kind of a rare feat, Craig, but we had two of them in less than a couple days' time.
Yeah, pretty neat stuff. And I want to go back to the sound room back there. Daryl, I'm sorry, Heavy D, let's talk to you. And I know you've had a lot of athletic achievements in your high school career. I want to ask, I don't know if you've ever thrown a no-hitter, but anything close to the glory of a no-hitter?
Craig, when I was growing up, I'm left-handed, so I always had the aspirations to pitch. And grade school, junior high, did a little bit of pitching. Got to a point where we went on a family vacation. We were gone for about 2 or 3 weeks and missed the first 4 games of the season. I came back to find out we were 4-0, and it just so happened it was my turn up to pitch in the rotation. Came out the first game thinking I was going to throw a good game and go 5-0. I got shelled. So from that point on, my pitching career kind of went downhill. Being a left-hander, Coach Bill Sturwald told us when he coached at Russia, he said, Sherman, he goes, left-handers play first base. They pitch or play first base. So I was sent over to first base, played there the rest of my high school career. And the only good thing about coming out of not being a pitcher was the fact that my future wife-to-be, Foxy H, would hang out along the first base line. And from what I hear, it's something to do with the way I looked in my baseball pants.
Oh, nice.
So,
nice.
From going from not being able to pitch, landed me one heck of a woman. And I guess that's what they say. The rest is history.
Oh, man. TK, I don't know how you keep together back there.
It's tough, but we're all professionals.
All right, Ken. Well, that's. I think that's going to do it for our baseball talk. That's a good way to end it.
I
isn't it?
believe so. Yeah.
All right. Well, a little earlier, we were trying to get the head coach of the Minster Wildcat boys track team on the phone. I think we're going to dial him up here. I think we got everything corrected there. But again, the Minster Memorial coming up this Saturday. Like I said earlier, a lot of good teams that are going to be there, and should be a great meet.
Should be a lot of fun. Boys teams, girls teams. I would say the hosts, the Minster Wildcats, on both sides, boys and girls, will probably be your favorites. But it's not going to be the greatest weather again, Craig. It's going to be chilly, but looks like it should be dry anyways. So, hopefully all the kids can perform well, and we'll hear a lot more about it here from Coach Topp here in just a minute.
Yeah, I believe we have him live on the phone right now. He is the head coach of the Minster Wildcat boys track team. It's Coach Larry Topp. Coach, I think we have you. Welcome to Fish Report Live, and thanks for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me on tonight's show. Sorry about the mix-up, and I'm glad I'm on.
All right. Well, listen, hey, we were talking about the Anna Invitational just a little bit ago. I want to say congratulations on winning that. And last week, Ken and I were really kind of raving about your girls' team and how well they've done at that Anna Invitational. But I went back and looked at the records, and you guys have actually done very well there. I went back and looked at records as far back as I could find, and I've got like 8 years in a row that you've won that. So congratulations on that. I assume that means you were happy with your performance last week?
Well, thanks, Craig. Yeah, I felt very fortunate. The boys ran very well. If you can win at Anna, you've done something. Anytime you can win 10 out of 17 events at Anna, you have to be pleased with their performance.
All right. Well, I was talking to one of the girls' coaches at that meet, and she was telling me she was a little surprised they were doing the pole vault because of the bad weather. And she explained to me that sometimes they'll actually cancel the pole vault if the weather is that bad. But as bad as that weather was, you had a junior, AJ Hulsman, that actually went out and set a Anna Invitational record. He pole vaulted 13'9", and I went back and looked at the state last year, 15'1" state. I want to ask you, if he can pole vault 13'9" on a bad day, how high can he go on a good day?
Well, AJ's a hard worker, and as far as the weather goes in Ohio, if you wait for good weather, you may never get a chance to vault. You know how that is around here. But AJ works very hard. He also has a teammate, Alan Tebby, who's been at state also. So we've got 2 returning state guys. Both work really hard. There's a rivalry there, which has made them both better. AJ and Alan, you're talking 15'1" last year, and those guys have high goals. Obviously, if you're in high school sports, all those kids have the big dream, and it's no telling how high they could go.
Coach, hi, this is Ken Francis. And you've got a lot of talented guys. You've talked about AJ and your other pole vaulter. I know you got the Slonkoski boys that can just flat out run, as well as some sprinters. So you're pretty strong across the board. If there's one area that you would like to see your team improve upon, what would it be?
Well, first of all, hi, Ken. And as far as improvement we need, well, we're very strong. We have a very strong nucleus, and we've got some returners like Corey Schultz, Troy Kaufman, Paul Deuce, AJ and Alan, like you said, that have been at state. You mentioned Slonkoski, and there's a host of other kids that hopefully will be part of that deal. But we're pretty strong in a lot of events. But as far as honestly, we need to do a lot more work. We haven't been getting the work we need with the weather we have, and we're lucky enough to have great kids here at Minster, but we need to improve in all areas. We're strong, but we're not where we need to be yet.
Coach, this Saturday you've got the Minster Memorial. Traditionally, you're going to have some of the best talent in the area, if not in the state of Ohio, competing at your track meet this Saturday. And, our Russia Raiders are fortunate to be a part of that meet. Are there any individual contests that you're looking forward to watching as that meet unfolds on Saturday?
Well, it's going to be interesting. Again, this year we've broadened out a little bit. We're trying to keep our team numbers up, and we have a team from Indiana coming in with Adam South coming and Triads coming from up north a little further. So we're bringing in some more talent, and you have Brazils, who's annually tougher than nails, and then you throw in your Shelby County schools. Russia's been tough, and Anna, and Anna won't be there, but there'll be several other Russia teams that are very good, and then you throw in a few MAC schools for a good mix, and it's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to watching what the relays bring around and see where we're gelling and see if we fit in there with the best. And I think those will be some interesting races. the relay should be very interesting, very exciting.
Yeah, it's always good to see where your team actually is at this point in the season when you compare it to some of the best talent around. So
yeah, we're very lucky here at Minster to have an invitational that draws such good talent, and that's a good mid-season check.
Over here in Russia, we just put in our own new track facility, and hopefully sometime we can have your Wildcats over and entertain you guys on our track. But we're a few years away. But what would it take for Russia to put on an invitational similar to what Minster does?
Well, there's that old saying people always pull out, and it takes a village to raise a child. Well, to run a good invite, it takes a village. We set up this thing months in advance as far as trying to get volunteers together. It takes over 70 volunteers to run the meet on the day of the meet itself. We have registered officials at almost every field event, and the site preparation starts about a week prior, and especially when you got weather like this, you have to guess. And I'm thinking of Russia itself. It's a pretty nice community there. I'm very familiar with the people and residents of there. I have a son-in-law there and a daughter living over there, and I think you guys will be just fine with the good people of Russia there to get your volunteers together. That's the main thing. You got to have a lot of people willing to volunteer time.
All right, Coach. Hey, listen, one more question and we'll let you go. Now, listen, Minster, we're well aware they have 27 state titles over there, more than anyone in the MAC, but none of them in boys track yet. And I know you guys were the regional champs last year. You got a great team coming back this year. I got to ask, what's it going to take to get a boys track banner hanging in that gymnasium?
Well, maybe you could get one for us, but to be honest, it takes a lot of things. And we, like you say, we've been very blessed here. We've won the last 3 MAC district and regional titles, and that doesn't always correlate out to state titles. State, the scoring is about who's got the best individuals and not necessarily the best team. But we've been lucky a few times. We come in third, and we are well aware that don't have that state banner up there. To win state, I'll tell you what, the hard work, which we do a lot of. You got to have good athletes, which we have, and then you have to stay healthy and have that all happen on that same 2-day period. And one of these days it'll come to us, and this year's group is working hard trying to make that happen. That's always one of their goals. So, yeah, you had to bring that up. I'm reminded often by Father Rick, we still don't have that banner up there, so we'll keep working towards it.
I had to ask, and like I said, you got a good as team this year as any. So we wish you the best of luck, and we want to thank you for joining us tonight, even with the problems we had here. But
well, I thank you for having me on, and I appreciate the things you guys do, keeping small school sports in the forefront in the minds of other people is a great thing, and especially sports like track and cross country and things like that don't always get the tell on the news. So thanks a lot.
Coach, Ken here again and again. We appreciate you taking time out of your schedule, and look forward to seeing you on Saturday. And good luck to your Wildcats.
All right, thank you, Ken. You have a good evening.
Thank you.
That was the head coach of the Minster boys track team, Ken. Coach Topp, and great guy, good stuff from him. And I want to go back to the sound room, though. I want to talk to TK a little bit. I know a couple weeks ago he was over at Sydney interviewing the Russia boys team, and I think he's got a note about one of Russia's boys athletes that we neglected to mention here in the last week or so. TK, we need you to turn your mic on.
Too many things going on back here. We got everything else going. All right. Thanks again, guys, for bringing it back here. As you mentioned, I did get the chance to talk to a couple of Russia athletes at Sydney. One of them, Nick Paulus, a shot putter. And during the interview, if anybody remembers, he said he was gunning for the school record. And lo and behold, in Versailles, he did beat that record. He took over from Scott Beefmannen, who at that time in 1993 threw the shot 43 feet 10 inches. And Nick at Versailles threw it 46 feet and 7 inches. So put a little hurting on that record that used to be up on the wall. And I'm not sure he's done. I think before the end of the season, we're going to put a couple more inches, maybe a foot or so on that thing. And good luck to Nick. And wasn't sure he was predicting the future, but indeed he did.
All right, good stuff. Thanks for that, TK. And I heard you refer to the last record holder as Scott Beefmannen. We should probably get a nickname for for Nick, Ken, because I saw that guy, playing basketball a couple years ago, and he was just a lanky little kid. I looked at him here the other week throwing the shot. That guy's tall. He's got arms on him. He's a big guy.
Oh, he's muscular. I mean, that guy's got some very strong calves, a nice strong upper body, Craig, and he's a strong, put together kid, and he's worked hard for it. So congratulations to Nick.
All right, well, that's going to do it for our track talk, Ken, and I know we had some T-shirts to hand out here the other week, and I think we probably ought to hand one out again tonight. Any ideas there?
First of all, I got to apologize to Sarah Young. Sarah, I promised you a shirt, and you know what? I'm going to make you another promise that you're going to have it tomorrow. So if you're watching us tonight, you'll have your shirt tomorrow, and I'm going to send it back to the sound room. You guys got any suggestions for tonight's T-shirt winner?
I'd throw out a name. I think Don Dew might just deserve a shirt.
Don Dew. Now, who would Don Dew be?
He helped us open up the show.
Okay, Andrew. All right, got him. Andrew Daniel, T-shirt winner. That's Andrew. I'll get you your shirt tomorrow also.
That sounds like a plan to me. And Ken, I don't want to forget that trivia question you asked me at the beginning of the night. Let's hit that one more time.
All right, the trivia question was Russia head baseball coach Rick Gold was a member of which team, or he was the head coach of which team in 1992 when he was inducted into the Hall of Fame?
And my choices were?
Your choices were Miami East, Piqua, or Urbana.
I think I know this one because last night I was talking to Coach Gold, and we had Versailles coach Mitch Hoyne on here last week, or excuse me, 2 weeks ago, and he had told a funny story about when he was at Sydney and Coach Gold was at Piqua, and I asked him when Coach Hoyne got into baseball, and he said he actually got into it in 1992. So I'm going to assume maybe that he was at Piqua when he got inducted to the Hall of Fame.
Craig, you know what? I got you 2 weeks in a row.
Oh.
Wrong. I knew you were going to say Piqua.
Where was he at?
Miami East.
Miami East.
1992, Coach Gold was inducted into the Miami Valley Coaches Baseball Association Hall of Fame as the head coach of the Vikings of Miami East.
All right. I must have got my years mixed up, but I'll give it another shot again next week.
All right.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for our show tonight, everyone. I want to thank you for joining us. Special thanks to Coach Topp for joining us. Special thanks to Don Dew for opening the show for us, and also for Coach Gold for doing that interview with us. We're actually going to be taking next week off, folks, but we will be back in May with an all-new show on Wednesday night, same place, same time. Until then, have a great rest of the week, everyone, and good night.
From Studio F in Russia, Ohio, for Ken Francis, Craig Fissinger, and TK, this is Heavy D, signing off, saying good night and good fishing.